I'm Christy. Today I want to talk to you about managing stress as a caregiver. Now, this topic is another one that seems very easy to overlook or to play down. After all, managing stress is something that everyone today seems to need. We all have a lot on our plates and things pulling us in different directions, sometimes all at the same time. When you live with someone who has special needs, though, the demands on your time are typically significantly higher. Not only do you have the usual pressures of work, housekeeping tasks, meal preparation, family obligations, events, practices, and the list goes on, you also have other tasks that are specifically for your loved one. Things like personal care, medication schedules, doctor's appointments, managing extra supplies or medication refills, and who knows what else. Many times, all of these pressures add up and leave you feeling overwhelmed, even if only for a short amount of time, or even if only occasionally. But I suspect that if you're like me, that pressure builds up or has built up to a nearly paralyzing level at some point in time. Mayo Clinic has this quote on an article that's linked on the blog. You can find that at www.havenofhopeforme.com. This originally posted in September of 2019. The quote says, about 1 in 3 adults in the United States provides care to other adults as informal caregivers, end quote. Now, that's a bit scary to me. The article also says that this number is increasing as the population in the U.S. ages. Now, that part I get. I read a number of different articles, most of them are linked throughout the blog post, that all agreed that caregiving is rewarding in many ways. Now, let me back up. Caregiving is defined as taking care of another individual who requires extra assistance due to disability, chronic or long-term illness, recovery from a health crisis, or other medical condition. And it is rewarding. However, it can also bring extra stress with it. The article also says, quote, caring for a loved one strains even the most resilient people, end quote. Another article puts it this way, quote, the emotional experiences involved in providing care can strain even the most capable person, end quote. Now, that pretty much sums it up, and it is what I have found to be true for me personally. Now, the article from Mayo Clinic lists these risk factors for added stress. Being female, having fewer years of formal education, living with the person you're caring for, social isolation, having depression, financial difficulties, higher numbers of hours spent caregiving, lack of coping skills and difficulty solving problems, and a lack of choice in being a caregiver. Now, I'm sure this isn't a comprehensive list, but I do think it's a great starting point. But maybe more importantly, we need to know what this added stress can look like so that we can try and identify it in our own lives. Many of the linked articles include lists of signs or symptoms that can help us identify the stress in our lives. Now, I've given links to all of them, and I compiled this list from them. Feeling overwhelmed or constantly worried. Getting too much sleep or not enough. Gaining or losing weight. Becoming easily irritated or angry. Losing interest in activities you used to enjoy. Having frequent headaches, bodily pain, or other physical problems. Abusing alcohol or drugs, including prescription medications. Feeling alone, isolated, or deserted by others. Feeling worried or sad often. Anxiety, depression, and irritability. Feeling tired or run down. Overreacting to minor nuisances. New or worsening health problems. Trouble concentrating. Feeling increasingly resentful. Drinking, smoking, or eating more. Neglecting responsibilities. Cutting back on leisure activities. Having much less energy than you once had. Catching every cold or bout of flu that's going around. Constant exhaustion, even when sleeping or taking a break. Neglecting your own needs, either because you're too busy or you don't care anymore. Life revolving around caregiving, but receiving little satisfaction. Trouble relaxing, even when help is available. Increasingly impatient and irritable with the person you're caring for. Feeling helpless and hopeless. And finally, job dissatisfaction. Now, once again, I'm sure we could find other things to include in this list, but I think it's a good starting point to raise awareness for the potential issues. So the real question is, how do we try to minimize the effects of the stress? And I think that's a great question, and one that is often easier said than done. So again, I've got a list of articles that I compiled this list from. They're linked on the blog. But some of them include things like learn better ways to better help your loved one. Find caregiving resources to help you. Ask for and accept help. That would be the hard one for me. Join a support group for caregivers. Get organized. Take time for yourself. Take care of your health. See your doctor for regular checkups. Focus on what you are able to provide. Set realistic goals. Get connected. Seek social support. Set personal health goals. Practice acceptance. Embrace your caregiving choice. Look for the silver lining. Don't let caregiving take over your life. Focus on the things you can control. And finally, celebrate the small victories. So where does all of this leave us? I think there are a couple key considerations. First of all, accept that the life of a caregiver is more stressful. There are a lot of extra requirements, but that doesn't make life worse, just different. Secondly, look for the positive and or fun aspects of being a caregiver. I know in my life there are a lot of instances of humor, generally provided by AJ himself. This is much of the reason that I end all of my posts with never a dull moment, because with him around, there aren't very many. Finally, make your personal care a priority as well. As I've said before, you can't give from an empty cup. Taking care of yourself with things like exercising, regular doctor visits, time away, those kinds of things, all help make sure you have the reserves and resources necessary to continually give to your loved one and still complete all of the other commitments that you have. So my question for you this week is this: how do you manage the stress of caregiving? What are some of the key strategies you use? I'd love to hear about them. You can leave me a comment below, or you can leave me a comment over on the blog. Again, that's at www.havenofhopeforme.com. This originally posted in September of 2019. Who knows? Maybe you'll even give me a new idea to try, and I'm always looking for new ideas. As always, I'd appreciate it if you'd share this with anyone and everyone you think would find it helpful. I'd love to help as many families as I can. Sign-up lists are available as usual. Signing up notifies you of all newly released content. Looking for new strategies to manage the stress in my life so I can continue to say that life is good and there is never a dull moment.